Hey, what's up? It's Travel Chronicles. I don't know what chapter it is. Maybe 76-ish, somewhere around there. But like the COVID stuff is driving me nuts right now, right? Like, so February and March, it kind of started out, and then in March shut everything down. Like the middle of March, we stopped everything. So we were going to the NCAA tournament. That got shut down. All the basketball games got shut down. Schools got sent home. Nobody was allowed to do anything, right? And the reason we were told that was because, well, we're not sure how bad it's going to get. We got to flatten the curve. That's what we got to try to do. We got to try to flatten the curve. So we don't, this thing could just go out of control and just get everybody. At one time, the hospitals won't be able to handle it. So we're just going to shut everything down. We're going to stop everything and try to restrict the spread of the virus. All right. Do that. By May, the hospitals are begging people to come back to get procedures done because there's not enough COVID cases, to keep them afloat as a business, right? Because they're a business. All right, so, come back, get your elective procedures, get your checkups, get everything done. Cool. We go from May until October, end of October. It's about the same. Cases are, fluctuate. Maybe they're a little bit more this week, a little bit less this week. There's maybe like a spike at the end of summer or beginning of summer, and then it kind of tails off. And then at the end of October, here comes just a huge number of cases, like out of nowhere. We're like, maybe like 40, 60,000 a day or something, maybe even up in the 70s, and then it goes up to 130 and then 160,000 a day across the country, right? And the cases are spiking in all the states. Hospitalizations, deaths are up, so, like they're saying 12%, and I'm not sure where that number comes from, right? Because if you're looking at it like a week by week basis, we went from around 800 to like maybe around 1,000. So that's 25%. And if you're looking at the total deaths, you had 200 some thousand. If they're saying 12%, I guess that's 24,000 total? Like total deaths are up 12%? I don't know. Like, where they're pulling these numbers out make no sense. And the governor of Ohio keeps tweeting out, oh, we're going to shut it. He had a broadcast last week. I can't remember what day it was. Wednesday, Friday, something. About how he's going to have to shut everything down. So we're going to give it one more week, see where things go, then we're going to shut it down. Then we're going to shut it down. We're going to have to shut it down. And ever since then, it's been like, wear your mask, right? If there's people in the store that aren't wearing a mask, we're going to give them a warning. And then the next time, we're going to shut the store down. We're going to shut it down for a day until they can get their stuff in order and make sure the people that are working there and the people that are shopping there are wearing their masks. And that's the mandate from the state. Okay. We've had 8 months of this, and people have been wearing masks. They were more diligent, like in the beginning, than what they are now. Like, do we really think this spike in cases because people aren't wearing a mask? Like, the people who were wearing a mask at the beginning of this are still wearing a mask. Okay, and the people who aren't. They still aren't. Okay, and just because you put this mandate out there, they're still not going to. And you know what they can say? Because there's a little loophole at the bottom. It says if you have a physical condition, you have to do it. Right? Oh, you got asthma? Oh, okay, well, don't wear it. All right, kid under 10, you have to wear a mask. If you have a mental issue that causes you claustrophobia or like a PTSD reaction, right? Then you could probably get out of wearing a mask, right? So, oh, look, I got PTSD. I can't cover my mouth. If I do, I break out into sweat. It makes me crazy. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Like, I'll try to keep my distance from people, though. It's just so ridiculous at this point. And the reason we were given this at the beginning was flatten the curve, right? So we could handle it. So do we not have enough infections during the summer that now is a problem? Because, oh my goodness, look how bad this is. Well, you know what? The common cold is a coronavirus. You know that? It is. Like, it wasn't a publicized thing. It wasn't, because at the beginning of this, we're like, we're like looking around. It's like, look, common cold's coronavirus. It's like, well, I think it's a different coronavirus. And it is, right? This is COVID-19. And common cold actually has a name. I don't know what it is, but I know it's a coronavirus, right? So, it's just so maddening, right? And here's the thing, right? The state has a breakdown of everything that's going on from the health department. The hospitals are reporting the numbers to the state, right? And they publish the numbers. They put them out there. They're not hiding the numbers. They're not massaging the numbers. It's just, here's the numbers. So Ohio has about 34,000 beds. We have around 3,100 corona cases in hospitals right now. Okay, if you do any math, that's less than 10% capacity on hospital beds. Okay, the hospitals themselves are around 80-some%, or a little bit less. They're actually less than 80. ICU beds. I don't know what the number is for the total that we have in the state. There's around 800 and some cases, okay, of ICU COVID-19. Maybe it's up to 1,000, right? It's around 20%. Okay, so if you multiply that, it's around like 4,000 beds. We got 800 and some in ICUs that have COVID. We're at 20%. And I've looked at it since the end of October. We went from about 5% to 10% capacity, total capacity. And from I think it was around 10 or 12%, probably a little bit over 10%, up to 20%. Now the numbers have slowed in the last 3 to 4 days of like hospital admissions, and maybe that's people like cycling out, like the people who are better are moving out, and it's not catching up. But like 2 weeks ago, at the end of October, the surge started, right, in the country. We went from 60 to 80,000 to 130,000, like that, in a matter of days. And since November, and the whole time in November, we've been above 100,000 cases a day for the country. Isn't it ironic? It's right when the temperature drops, right? It's right when people start spending more times indoors. We've got the time change, so people aren't out as late, and they come inside earlier, but they're still staying up late, right? Because we got to be on Facebook. We got to play video games. We got to watch TV. They're still up at the same time, just not getting as much light. Leads me to a whole different thing, but daylight savings time should be standard on the East Coast anyway. I mean, maybe there's some places where you don't, maybe Central doesn't, maybe they switch or something. I don't know. Like, honestly, the time divisions drive me nuts, and especially drives me nuts for sports, because they want to placate everything to the West Coast. So like, oh, okay, East Coast, the games aren't starting until 8:30. Like your Monday Night Football, or even the college basketball championship doesn't start until 9 o'clock at night on the East Coast. It's like, I don't want to be watching sports at 11:30 at night or midnight. It's terrible, especially during the week. Friday or Saturday, okay, that's fine. Because I can stay up a little bit later because I don't have to be up as early. But when you gotta be up at 5:30 in the morning during the week, you don't want to stay up and watch a sport until midnight and then try to make it through on 5 hours of sleep to watch a game. I've done giving up on that. Like, if a game doesn't start till 8:30 or 9, nah, I'm not even watching that. I don't even want to get interested. Then you just gotta walk away from it. Ridiculous. Back to the other point, though, maybe is that playing something into the COVID, that people aren't out in the daylight enough? I don't know. Could be. I mean, it's just so odd that the cases have just spiked right when it's cold season. Right when people start getting sniffles and, noses running. it's cold out. You got more layers on. Right? You got your gloves on. You're touching everything with your gloves and rubbing your mouth. Kids are still out of school. Kids are out of school, so it ain't the school that's spreading it, right? At least not around here. Not allowed to play sports, not allowed to compete. You know, it ain't the schools. Is it just the normal day-to-day stuff that's doing it? Are we in that bad of shape? Maybe. Maybe. And if that's the case, what are you going to do to stop? How's shutting a Walmart going to help you? Because we're getting it from somewhere. All I want, right, is for the governor to say, look, here's where we're at. We have this many hospitalizations, this many COVID cases, all right? If there are hospitals that are surged, that are maxed out, like Cleveland Hospital is maxed out. One in Columbus is maxed out. One in Cincinnati is maxed out. Okay? That's where all the cases just happen to be. Right? And all the rural places where people are spread out are still okay. Maybe come up with a plan, kind of move people out of the cities. You know, it's like, all right, you know, understand you have it, we're going to send you down here. You know, set up certain hospitals for COVID relief. You know, places that can handle it. Nobody can go see them in the hospital anyway, so why do they need to be right there? You know, just send them 30 minutes out, 40 minutes out. Why can't we think of this stuff? Instead of just, well, we're going to shut down the state. Okay, what's that going to do? You know, you can kind of see the cases starting to dwindle now. Like the overall, usually the overall ICU capacity or hospital capacity has dropped down like a couple, 3-4% in the last few days to where it's below 80 now. I think it was slightly above 80, now it's below 80. And it's just like, what game are you playing? What level do we need to get to? Is it 15%? Is it 20%? Is it 25% COVID? I'm not saying kick people out of the hospital that don't have COVID. You can't do that. I mean, they're in the ICU for a reason. We can stop having elective procedures. That should have been the first announcement. Let's not shut down Walmart. Hey, if you can hold off on having a procedure, let's hold off on having that procedure. Oh, we can't do that. That's money. But we got to have room, right? We're flattening the curve so the hospitals can handle it. Well, they still got to make money. So then what's more important right now? Is the well-being of people or being able to treat people, or some short-sighted cash grab by hospitals before they get overrun by this? It just doesn't, like, I want to make decisions based on data, logic, and reason. Speaking in hyperbole and talking anecdotally does not give me a warm, fuzzy feeling that you're making the right decision. It doesn't. I need to know a number. When we reach that number, when we reach that percent, or when you reach a certain growth in a certain time frame, to say, look, this is when we have to pull the trigger because the hospitals absolutely won't be able to handle it. We got to be able to let the hospitals handle it. Like right now, we're not getting any of that leadership. Right now, it's just, oh, we're going to have to shut it down. We're going to have to shut it down. You wear that mask. We're going to have to shut it down. What's the number? Tell me the number. Tell me the number we got to hit. Like, we'll do our best. Because every indication that I see is that it's slowing. The cases aren't picking up in the hospitals like we thought. Like, oh, we're seeing cases. People are somehow able to go home and shrug it off. Is it because it's the regular cold? Is it because it's the flu? Just give us data. Just tell us the data. That's all I want. that's all I got. Hopefully it gets settled here in the next day. I know it won't. And I feel like we're going to go for another shutdown, which is just ludicrous at this point because it's not based on anything other than the people's feels. All right, be careful. Stay COVID free as much as you can. All right, later.